Hi everybody, this is Cup Kitty. I am doing a different video today. Today I'm going to tell you about what's happening in my country, Brazil. My country is going through elections. We recently, in September, we had elections for governor, senator, and many other positions. We are a democracy. We have a president, and for the president elections, the president wasn't elected in the first round. They had to make a second round election for president because it became among two candidates. One candidate is the president himself. He is running for re-election, and the other candidate is he wants to be president. He has never been president. So I don't really know what's going to happen because the two candidates are very different. The president there, it's in duty and has been for 4 years. I really didn't vote for him, so I'm cheering for the other candidate. But whoever wins, I will cheer for him because I want my country to do better than we have been doing. We have a lot of corruption and many needy sections in our society, such as health, education, and basic services. And a sudden patriotic feeling came over me this past month that the candidates made their appearances and showed their promises and programs for the country. So maybe because I did Portugal's national hymn, I would like you to know a little bit about Brazil's national hymn. And I would like to share with you a very humble translation that I did for my hymn, the Brazil national hymn. There are some things you should know first, because they are said in the hymn. The first thing you have to know is that Brazil was a colony, a Portugal colony. So Brazil would respond to Portugal. When Napoleon invaded Portugal, the royal family ran to Brazil to still have a chance to win Napoleon and go back to Portugal. Meanwhile, they would live here in Brazil. Dom Pedro I was the son of the king, and he practically grew up here in Brazil. He was born in Portugal and came in a very young age to Brazil. And he was a man when the Portugal forces finally got to expel Napoleon from Portugal, and already knew about the king's plans to return to Portugal. But he didn't want to go. He felt like Brazil was his country. So he declared Brazil independent from Portugal on September 7th, 1822. And that was the shout of independence. He stood by a river, actually, here in my state, he stood by a river called Ipiranga and shouted, Independência ou morte, which means independence or death. So the cause for shouting out this bold sentence was he got a letter from his father that he would have to return immediately to Portugal, so he would stay. So he ruled Brazil and then gave up his emperor crown to his son, Dom Pedro II. And then on the November 15th, now it is 1889, Brazil was proclaimed a republic. So the hymn says things about that. The hymn mentions that the independence was proclaimed in Ipiranga by Ipiranga's river, and that the proclamation of the Republic of Brazil was important because our flag is constituted by a lot of symbols. The first symbol is the green around it. The green symbolizes our nature, our forests. The yellow represents our gold and all of our riches. The blue obviously is the sky, and every star in the blue is a Brazilian state. And that scenery, that star scenery, which is in our flag today, is exactly the star scenery of the November 15th day when the Republic was proclaimed. And in that stars, there's a constellation called Crux, Crux, which is kind of a cross. It appears in many other flags like New Zealand and Australia. And that is written on the hymn too, so you'll notice. And I guess you have to listen to know, and if you have any questions, let me know, because it was a pretty hard hymn to translate. Although I have sang it my whole life, I had never thought on translating it. But it's a very humble translation, so please forgive me if it's not accurate. It's just a try. So here it is, my national hymn, the hymn of Brazil.